Last year, the average American spent over $3,000 on gasoline. $3,000. That's a vacation. That's a month's rent. That's money that vanished, one tank at a time, while you did everything you thought was right. And here's the brutal truth nobody at the gas station is going to tell you: you've been burning your own money. Not because of gas prices, not because of your car, but because of 10 simple things you never knew your car was trying to tell you. Music builds. These aren't tricks from some mechanic trying to upsell you. These are physics, chemistry, engineering. The real secrets buried inside your car's design and your gas station's business model that nobody bothered to explain. Welcome back. Today we are going deep, engine bay deep, into the world of fuel efficiency. And I promise you, by the end of this video, you will never fill up a gas tank the same way again. Now, some of what I'm about to tell you will sound obvious. Some of it will sound like conspiracy. And at least 2 or 3 of these will make you genuinely angry that no one ever told you sooner. We're counting down from number 10 all the way to number 1. And I've saved the most important, most overlooked, and most expensive mistake for last. So stay with me. Let's get into it. Number 10. Pump fuel at slow speed instead of full trigger. Here's something that will blow your mind the next time you're standing at a pump. That trigger you're squeezing, it has 3 speeds. And almost everyone, almost every single person, uses the fastest one. Every single time. Why? Because it's faster. Because standing at a gas station isn't exactly anyone's idea of fun. But here's what that full-speed spray is actually doing to your money. When fuel flows at high speed, it creates vapor. Fuel vapor. And most modern pumps have what's called a vapor recovery nozzle, a system legally required in many countries, designed to suck those vapors back out of your tank and back into the station's underground storage. Translation? You're paying for fuel that's being pulled back out of your tank before you even drive away. When you pump slowly, and I mean genuinely slowly, using the first click of that trigger, the fuel has time to settle into a liquid state with dramatically reduced vaporization. Less vapor, more liquid fuel, more miles. Now, is the difference enormous on a single fill-up? No. But across a year of weekly fill-ups, studies from the California Air Resources Board suggest vapor losses can account for between 1% and 3% of your total fuel volume at the pump. On a $3,000 per year fuel budget, that's up to $90 gone in vapor. Every year, without you ever noticing. Slow down at the pump, your wallet will thank you. Number 9, avoid premium fuel unless your car requires it. Stop, just stop right there. If your car does not require premium fuel, and I mean if the word required is not stamped inside your fuel cap door or in your owner's manual, you are throwing money away every single time you choose the premium pump. Here's the chemistry lesson nobody gave you in school. Premium fuel has a higher octane rating. Octane is not a measure of energy content. It is not a measure of power. It is not a measure of how clean the fuel is. Octane is a measure of resistance to pre-ignition, also called engine knock. High compression engines, sports cars, turbocharged engines, certain performance vehicles need higher octane because without it, the fuel ignites too early, causing knock, which damages the engine over time. Regular engines? They have knock sensors specifically designed to manage combustion with regular 87 octane fuel. They don't need the extra resistance. The premium does nothing for them. The American Automobile Association ran an extensive study, 87 vehicles, over 2,000 miles of testing. The conclusion? For vehicles where premium is recommended but not required, the performance gain was negligible. The fuel economy improvement was statistically insignificant. And the cost difference? Very real. Premium fuel costs anywhere from 25 to 60 cents more per gallon, depending on where you live. Fill up once a week, 15-gallon tank, that's $195 to $468 extra per year. For nothing. Read your owner's manual. 3 minutes of reading could save you $400 a year. Number 8. Ignore the morning fuel myth. Time of day doesn't matter. Oh, you've heard this one. Fill up in the morning, when it's cool. Because fuel is denser when it's cold, so you get more energy per gallon. Right? Wrong. And let me explain exactly why this is one of the most persistent myths in automotive history. Here's the fact that destroys this myth completely. Fuel is stored underground, not on the surface, not in glass tanks baking in the sun. In massive underground cisterns, where the temperature is almost entirely constant year-round, typically between 50 and 60 degrees Fahrenheit, regardless of whether it's 6 a.m. or 3 p.m. on a summer afternoon. The fuel that flows into your tank in the morning is the same temperature as the fuel that flows in at noon. It hasn't been sitting in the sun. It hasn't expanded. It came from the same underground reservoir. Now, does thermal expansion of fuel exist in theory? Absolutely. Fuel expands at approximately 0.1% per degree Fahrenheit. But the underground storage temperature variation is so minimal across a single day that the practical difference in what reaches your tank is effectively zero. The U.S. National Institute of Standards and Technology has studied this. Consumer advocacy groups have studied this. The conclusion is consistent. There is no measurable benefit to timing your fuel stop by temperature. Sleep in. Fill up whenever it's convenient. Stop waking up at dawn for imaginary savings. Number 7. Be aware of pump calibration accuracy. Well-maintained pump. This one is going to make you feel a little paranoid. And honestly, some level of paranoia here is warranted. Every gas pump in the United States and in most countries around the world is legally required to be calibrated and inspected by weights and measures authorities on a regular basis. The standard tolerance in the U.S., plus or minus 6 cubic inches per 5 gallons pumped. Which sounds tiny, right? It is tiny, when the pump is functioning correctly. The problem is that pumps drift out of calibration, meters wear down, electronic components fail, and the inspection frequency? In many counties and states, annual inspections are the standard, meaning a pump could be miscalibrated for months before anyone catches it. A 2019 investigation by the National Conference on Weights and Measures found that roughly 5% of pumps tested across various states were delivering less fuel than the meter indicated, some by as much as 1 to 3% short. On a 15-gallon fill-up, 3% short means you paid for 15 gallons and got 14.55. That's almost half a gallon gone. Do that 50 times a year, and you've been charged for roughly 24 extra gallons you never received. So what do? First, look for the inspection sticker on the pump. Most calibrated pumps display the date of their last inspection. If the sticker is old, faded, or missing, move to another pump or another station. Second, favor high volume, well-maintained stations, typically major branded chains with more frequent internal auditing. Third, if you consistently feel like your tank empties faster than it should despite careful driving, report the pump to your state's Weights and Measures office. It takes 5 minutes and protects everyone. Trust but verify, especially when you're paying for something you can't see. Number 6, keep your air filter clean. Your engine is a combustion machine, and combustion requires 2 things, fuel and oxygen. Remove enough oxygen from that equation, and your engine has to compensate by burning more fuel to maintain power. A clogged air filter is one of the most quietly expensive maintenance items on your entire vehicle, and it's also one of the cheapest and easiest to fix. Your engine's air filter sits between the outside air and your intake manifold. It catches dust, pollen, road debris, insects, everything that would otherwise tear through your engine's cylinders. Over time, all that debris packs the filter dents. Airflow decreases. Your engine's electronic control unit detects the lean air-fuel mixture and commands the fuel injectors to compensate, pushing in more fuel to maintain the stoichiometric ratio your engine needs. The U.S. Department of Energy estimates that a severely clogged air filter can reduce fuel economy by up to 10% in older vehicles with carbureted engines. In modern fuel-injected vehicles, which are smarter about managing the mixture, the impact is somewhat lower, but studies still show 1 to 2% degradation in fuel economy per 10,000 miles of neglected filter service. The fix? A new air filter costs between $15 and $35, depending on your vehicle. You can install it yourself in under 10 minutes. No tools required for most cars. Just open the airbox, pull out the old filter, drop in the new one, close the lid. If you're driving with a filter you haven't changed in over a year or 15,000 miles, check it today. Hold it up to a light. If you can't see light through it clearly, it's costing you money every single mile. Number 5, maintain proper tire pressure. This one you've probably heard. And because you've heard it, and because checking tire pressure is slightly inconvenient, there is an excellent chance you are driving on underinflated tires right now. Let's talk about what that actually means for your fuel economy in real, specific terms. When a tire is properly inflated, it rolls on a specific area of its tread, the contact patch. The tire is round, it rolls efficiently, and rolling resistance is minimized. When a tire is underinflated, the sidewalls bow outward. The contact patch flattens and widens. More rubber is touching the road. More energy is required to push that rubber forward. Your engine has to work harder. Your fuel economy drops. The U.S. Department of Energy and the Environmental Protection Agency have both quantified this. For every 1 psi drop below recommended pressure across all 4 tires, fuel economy decreases by approximately 0.1 to 0.2%. That sounds minor, until you realize that the average driver's tires are 5 to 7 psi below recommended pressure, and tires naturally lose 1 to 2 psi per month just through normal permeation. So the average underinflated driver is losing 1 to 1.5% of their fuel economy. Over 12,000 miles per year, that's roughly 40 to 60 miles of free driving you're leaving behind. And it's costing you accelerated tire wear at the same time. Check your tire pressure monthly. The correct number is on the sticker inside your driver's door jamb, not on the tire sidewall, which shows the maximum pressure, not the recommended. Use the door sticker number. And if you really want to level up, switch to nitrogen inflation at a tire shop. Nitrogen escapes more slowly than regular air, keeping your pressure more stable between checks. Number 4, avoid too many short trips. Every single time you start your cold engine and drive less than 5 miles, you are burning fuel at a rate that would make your car's designer wince. A cold engine is an inefficient engine. When your engine hasn't reached operating temperature, typically between 195 and 220 degrees Fahrenheit, the engine management system runs what's called a rich fuel mixture. It injects extra fuel to compensate for the cold metal surfaces that would otherwise cause poor combustion and rough idling. Your catalytic converter also doesn't reach operating temperature around 600 degrees Fahrenheit until about 5 minutes into a trip. Before that, it's not effectively processing your exhaust, and your fuel trim is compensating. The result? A cold start, short trip drive can burn 20 to 40% more fuel per mile than the same route driven with a fully warmed engine. Here's the practical fix. Batch your errands. Instead of 5 separate 3-mile trips throughout the day, make one 12-mile loop that hits every stop. Your engine warms up once, stays warm for the rest of the trip, and runs at its designed efficiency for the majority of the drive. AAA research shows that combining short trips can reduce fuel consumption for those errands by 15 to 40%, depending on driving conditions. If short trip driving represents even 20% of your total annual mileage, the cumulative savings are significant. Plan your route like a delivery driver. Think in loops, not in individual impulses. Number 3, remove extra weight from your car. Open your trunk. Go ahead. I'll wait. What's in there? Be honest. The physics of this is simple and unforgiving. Moving mass requires energy. Your engine converts fuel into mechanical energy to move your car. The heavier your car, the more energy required. The more energy required, the more fuel burned. Every single mile. The U.S. Department of Energy puts a precise number on this. For every 100 pounds of unnecessary weight in your vehicle, you lose approximately 0.5 to 1% of fuel economy. That might sound small, but let's get specific. A case of water bottles in the trunk, 40 lbs. Those golf clubs you haven't touched since October, 30 lbs. A spare set of tires just in case, 80 lbs. Tools, emergency kits, bags, strollers, boxes. People routinely carry 150 to 300 pounds of non-essential weight in their vehicles daily. At 250 extra pounds, you're losing roughly 1.5 to 2.5% of your fuel economy. On a 30 mpg car driving 12,000 miles a year, that's 50 to 80 gallons of additional fuel consumed annually. At current national average gas prices, you're burning $150 to $250 a year to haul stuff that's sitting in your trunk doing absolutely nothing. This is the easiest money you'll ever save. Empty your car. Keep only what you genuinely need, and stop treating your trunk like a storage unit on wheels. Number 2, ensure your gas cap is sealed properly. This one sounds almost insultingly simple. Your gas cap. The little screw-on cap that seals your fuel tank. What could possibly go wrong? Quite a lot, actually. And for a lot of you watching, it already has. Your vehicle's fuel system is a closed, pressurized system. It has to be. Modern cars use an evaporative emission control system, EVAP, that captures fuel vapors from the tank and routes them into the engine to be burned, rather than releasing them into the atmosphere. This system depends on a completely sealed fuel tank, and the gas cap is the most obvious seal in that system. When your gas cap is loose, cracked, missing, or has a degraded rubber seal, which happens with age and heat cycling, the EVAP system develops a leak. Fuel vapors escape directly into the atmosphere. Your engine management system detects the pressure drop, and your check engine light comes on. In many cases, the only reason a check engine light is illuminated is a loose or faulty gas cap. The US EPA estimates that 147 million gallons of fuel are lost each year in America alone due to fuel vapor evaporation from improperly sealed gas caps, nationally. That's evaporation without even driving anywhere. For an individual driver, a cracked or improperly sealed gas cap can cost you 1 to 4% of your total fuel volume annually through pure evaporation. The fix costs almost nothing. A new OM gas cap is $10 to $20. After filling up, always tighten your cap until you hear 2 to 3 clicks. If your cap is more than 5 or 6 years old, or if you've ever accidentally driven off without replacing it, replace it proactively. $10 once, hundreds of dollars saved over time. Number 1, maintain engine sensors, O sensor, MAF sensor. And here it is. Number 1, the single most expensive, most overlooked, most misunderstood fuel economy killer on this entire list. Your engine sensors, specifically your oxygen sensor and your mass airflow sensor. And if you don't know what those are, don't worry, because by the end of this, you will. And you'll also understand why a $50 sensor can be silently costing you hundreds of dollars a year. Modern engines don't just burn fuel blindly. They operate on a closed-loop feedback system. Dozens of sensors continuously report real-time data to your engine control unit, your car's main computer, which then adjusts fuel injection, ignition timing, and air-fuel mixture hundreds of times per second to keep your engine running at peak efficiency. The 2 most critical sensors in this system for fuel economy are the oxygen sensor O2 sensor and the mass airflow sensor MAFSR. The oxygen sensor sits in your exhaust system and measures the oxygen content of your exhaust gases. This data tells your ECU whether the engine is running rich, too much fuel, not enough air, or lean, too much air, not enough fuel. Based on that feedback, the ECU adjusts fuel injection in real time, targeting the perfect stoichiometric ratio of 14.7 parts air to 1 part fuel. When an O2 sensor fails or becomes slow, which happens after approximately 60,000 to 100,000 miles of heat cycling and contamination, it sends inaccurate readings. The ECU, acting on bad data, makes bad decisions. The most common failure mode? Running rich. Injecting too much fuel. And you feel it in every single fill-up. A failed O2 sensor can reduce fuel economy by 10 to 40%. The sensor itself, $20 to $100. The labor to install it, under an hour at most shops. The cost of not replacing it, hundreds of dollars in wasted fuel per year, plus accelerated catalytic converter damage, and catalytic converters cost $500 to $2,000 to replace. The mass airflow sensor measures the volume and density of air entering your engine. This tells the ECU exactly how much fuel to inject to match the incoming air. When the MAF sensor gets dirty, from oil vapors, dust, or contaminated intake air, its readings drift. Again, the ECU acts on bad data. Again, the most common result is a rich running condition. Too much fuel, poor economy, rough idle. Sluggish acceleration. A contaminated MAF sensor can be cleaned with MAF sensor cleaner spray, a $10 can, in 15 minutes. A failed sensor needs replacement, typically $80 to $300 for the part. But either way, addressing it immediately stops the hemorrhaging of fuel every time you press the accelerator. If your check engine light is on, your fuel economy has inexplicably declined, or your engine is idling rough, get those sensors scanned. Any auto parts store will read your fault codes for free. O2 and MAF sensor codes are among the most common codes in existence, and they are also among the easiest to fix. This is number one because it is invisible, expensive, and entirely preventable. Stop unnecessary idling, your engine doesn't need it, and your wallet doesn't deserve the hit. And slow down on the highway, because speed is expensive in ways the fuel gauge doesn't always make obvious. Here's the thing about all of this. None of it requires buying a new car. None of it requires a mechanic certification. None of it costs more than a few hours and a modest investment in maintenance. What it does require is a little bit of knowledge. And that's exactly why these hacks stay hidden, not by design, not by conspiracy, but by the simple fact that nobody ever sat down and explained the engineering your car was built on. If this video saved you even one tank of fuel this year, share it with someone who needs to hear it. Drop your biggest takeaway in the comments. I read every one. Drive smart, drive efficient, and I'll see you in the next one. Like and subscribe for more insider car knowledge. Comment: which hack surprised you the most?